Well, the first returns are coming in on the WNBA All-Star voting. Of course, it will be in Indianapolis. And as you can imagine, Caitlin Clark is leading the All-Star vote. By the way, it looks like a massive turn.
516,000 fans just torched the WNBA's hype machine, crowning Caitlin Clark while the league's hand-picked face, Angel Reese, was left outside the top 10. How does the most advertised rookie in recent memory get outvoted 3-1 by the player the promos kept on mute? Tonight we crack open the ballot box the network skimmed past, sift through inflated follower counts, and follow the stats that won't stay buried. Stick around, because before the final buzzer, you'll know exactly how one night of voting toppled a 2-year marketing fantasy, and why the fallout could rewrite the next decade of women's basketball. As the early numbers rolled in, the scoreboard the league never wanted you to screenshot told the real story. Caitlin Clark didn't just edge ahead in the first All-Star tally, she detonated it. Her 515,993 fan votes nearly equaled last year's entire first-round total by herself. Right behind came MVP favorite Nafisa Collier with 484,758, and Indiana's sophomore anchor Aaliyah Boston logged 446,961. Scroll a little farther and the storyline screeches. Angel Reese appears in 13th place with 173,363 votes, a gap so wide it feels like a different election. That gulf looks even bigger once you factor in turnout.
WNBA dump has officially been exposed. The myth of all myths, the deception of deception. For the better part of 2 years, maybe even 3 years, the mainstream media has been trying to convince us that Angel Reese is a huge star.
Fan participation is up roughly 40% this season, thanks to an Indianapolis host city buzzing about its fever stars, and a national spotlight that's hotter than ever. Translation? Reese's total didn't shrink in a vacuum, it shrank while the pie got bigger. 4 Fever players soared into the top 10, Clark, Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull, proving the votes weren't locked into single-player hype. They tracked on-court impact. Dig deeper, and the distribution exposes a league-wide verdict. Clark ranked first in nearly every team market, while Reese failed to lead a single one outside Chicago. In short, viewers from coast to coast flocked to the nightly highlight machine over the league's marketing darling. The numbers aren't just lopsided, they're philosophical. Fans rewarded production over promotion, efficiency over ad impressions, but raw tallies only flash the headline. To grasp how a made-for-TV superstar stalled at the ballot box, we have to rewind through 2 years of boardroom branding and see exactly where the blueprint cracked.
Second straight year that Clark has led the fan voting. She was second in early returns in fan voting in 2024, but jumped to first with around 700,000 total votes by the end of the period. So I'm wondering, are we going to see 1 million votes this time? Because I saw somebody...
The Angel Reese rollout felt less like a rookie debut and more like a corporate product launch. 1 month she's splashed across a Forbes headline as the driving force behind the WNBA's growth. The next she's front and center in a national ad spot for Reebok, head bobbing to a Beats soundtrack, product logos everywhere. League socials looped her college highlights on repeat. Talk shows fought to book her for hot take segments, and major brands piled in. Amazon promos, fashion collabs, even a tampon campaign crowning her the new face of women's sports. The message was loud and relentless. Reese wasn't just another player, she was the cultural pivot the league needed. She embraced the spotlight, telling interviewers that arenas sell out because of her swagger and promising future generations would credit her for women's hoops blowing up. Her follower count rocketed past 1 million, yet skeptics noticed odd spikes. Fresh profiles with no posts or avatars, existing mainly to inflate a public metric that looks great in a marketing deck. Storylines sell tickets, but only when the stat sheet backs them up. Endorsement dollars can amplify a star, they can't invent one.
Talking about women's basketball, you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games, we got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas. I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me.
Fans will buy into hype after the talent proves itself. Just ask Caitlin Clark, whose nightly highlight reel doubles as her own commercial. So when the league's brightest billboard pointed to Reese, expectations ballooned. Anything less than elite efficiency risked turning helium hype into dead weight. Sure enough, the brighter the promotions, the harsher the glare on her rookie stat line. The commercials might have set the stage, but the numbers waiting under those lights left marketing execs scrambling for the mute button. Strip away the commercials and the stat line hits like a cold splash of water. Through her first 7 pro games, Angel Reese is converting just 30.9% of her shots, second worst among the 60-plus players logging real minutes.
Where Angel Reese's place is, well, it's 13th place. And I can tell you right now, Jonquel Jones ought to be ahead of her.
For a post player who lives at the rim, missing 2 out of every 3 attempts is a scarlet flag. Add only 11 points a night, 2 blocked shots total, and a free throw rate that barely moves the scoreboard, and the box score starts looking less like a superstar resume and more like an unfinished draft. Her one undeniable weapon, rebounding, remains elite. Reese crashes the glass for league-leading board totals, fighting through traffic with pure hustle. But in today's WNBA, one-dimensional strength doesn't crown an all-star. Voters want the full kit: efficiency, defense, playmaking. Compare her line to Caitlin Clark's nightly double-digit assists and deep-range barrages, or Aaliyah Boston's two-way dominance, or rookie Kiki Iriafen's genuine double-double clip. Those players fill every column. Reese fills only one. Advanced metrics echo the same verdict. Player efficiency rating places her near the bottom of starters. True shooting percentage drags her even lower, and her on-off splits show the offense stalling when she's forced to create her own looks. That dissonance between hype videos and hard numbers didn't stay hidden. Fans saw it every time the Sky offense bogged down while her putbacks rimmed out. Marketing can frame a narrative, but the ballot box speaks box score language. And when 500,000 voters logged on, they spoke fluently. How that voting system magnified the gap and why the league can't brush it aside comes into sharp focus once you understand how the ballots are counted and who really holds the tiebreaker. All-star status in the WNBA hangs on a 3-tier ballot: 50% fan vote, 25% player vote, and 25% media vote. In theory, that split balances popularity with peer respect and press perspective, yet the math still bends toward the masses. A runaway in the fan column all but locks a roster spot. Everyone else is just shading the margin. That's why Caitlin Clark's 500,000 surge mattered so much. She didn't merely lead, she buried the field, stacking more votes than Angel Reese, Kiki Iriafen, and Lexi Hull combined. Even if every reporter and every opposing player penciled Reese first, she still couldn't leap the canyon Clark carved with the public. The fan block became a veto stamp, overriding any narrative still whispering that endorsements equal impact. Look further down the ledger and the pattern stays consistent. Aaliyah Boston, Nafisa Collier, and Aja Wilson ride balanced portfolios, scoring, defense, leadership, so their fan totals mirror the respect they already command inside locker rooms and press rows. By contrast, Reese's one-skill resume leaves her clinging to that smaller media slice, hoping storyline momentum can offset statistical drag. This year it couldn't. Voters with remotes in hand trusted what they saw on the court more than what they heard in commercials. The takeaway is stark. When the league's marketing machine insists a star has arrived, fans test the claim against the box score, and the ballot becomes their fact-check button. The disconnect exposed by this vote isn't just a numbers glitch, it's a warning that narrative without substance will always run aground when half the electorate watches every possession in high definition. Every sports league banks on a good rivalry, but fans smell a scripted feud from miles away. Over the last 2 seasons, highlight reels, press hits, and hot take panels hammered home the Clark-Reese storyline. One sharpshooting phenom versus one boisterous bruiser. But the numbers never justified equal billing. By the time All-Star ballots opened, message boards and podcasts were already calling the matchup marketing cosplay, pointing to lopsided box scores, and asking why every promo package still treated the players like co-headliners. Then came the social media whiplash. Reese's follower count dazzled brand managers, yet deep dives uncovered sudden bursts of near-empty profiles. No avatars, no posts, just a single click on the follow button. Whether those accounts were harmless spam or paid padding hardly mattered. Once the word bot hit Reddit, every sponsor shoutout felt a shade less authentic. Added to that, respected veterans like Candace Parker publicly questioned why the league kept force-feeding a rivalry when Clark's most consistent competition on the court was coming from Collier, Wilson, and Boston, not from Reese. Trust eroded in real time. Viewers who tuned in for highlights stayed for full games and saw the disconnect for themselves. One player stretching defenses from 30 feet, another bricking point-blank putbacks. The more the hype machine insisted both names were equally essential, the more the gap on the stat sheet looked like an exposed wire. Fans realized they were being pitched a storyline instead of witnessing one unfold. That credibility deficit doesn't vanish with a re-edited commercial. It lingers until performance closes the distance. Which brings the conversation to the only fixes left on the table: real improvements on the hardwood and a marketing pivot that values substance over sound bites. Angel Reese's ticket back into the spotlight starts on the practice floor, not the photo set. Efficiency is the first fix. Reps from 8 feet and in, hundreds of finishes a day until 30% shooting feels as distant as her college dorm. A reliable mid-range jumper widens driving lanes. A soft left-hand counter keeps defenses honest, and free throw consistency turns hack a strategy into empty threats. Add weak side timing drills to bump her block numbers and a few controlled post moves to cut down wild flings at the rim, and the box score begins to match the bravado. Development alone won't mend the league's credibility leak, though. The WNBA's promo playbook needs a reboot that spotlights progress instead of predetermined stardom. Celebrate incremental leaps. Reese nudging her field goal rate above 45%, Clark shaving turnovers, Boston expanding her range, so fans can follow visible growth rather than feel lectured about finished products that don't exist yet. Show advanced stats during broadcasts, clip breakdowns on social feeds, and let organic rivalries rise from results instead of hashtags. Brands and networks can still lean into personalities, but only after the hardwood storyline set the table. Viewers have made it clear, box scores are the baseline for trust. When statistics tell the same truth as the commercials, hype turns into genuine momentum and everyone wins. Players, sponsors, and most importantly, the fans who cast those 500,000 verdicts. Whether Reese embraces that grind and whether the league adjusts its megaphone will shape the landscape long after this all-star cycle fades. Performance built the gap, only performance can close it. The All-Star ballot didn't just humble one marketing plan, it jolted every corner of the WNBA ecosystem. Front offices suddenly have hard proof that airtime and ad spend can't outmuscle efficiency. Rosters built on social media buzz alone look brittle when the next vote drops. Expect GMS to double down on analytics, hunting for two-way players who pad win shares, not follower counts. Negotiations will shift too. Rookies hawking million-dollar endorsement deals may now be asked to show a true shooting trend line before the check clears. Broadcast partners are also recalculating. With a new media rights cycle looming, network execs have fresh data showing fans flock to authentic on-court drama. Clark drilling logo threes, Collier's late-game footwork, Boston's paint dominance over prepackaged rivalries. That means more crossover cams during live possessions, deeper in-game stat graphics, and fewer canned interview segments designed to sell personalities. The ratings surge is real, but networks now recognize it's tied to performance clips, not press tour sound bites. Sponsors feel the aftershock next. Brands that rush to lock down the next big thing without cross-checking PR, win shares, or even field goal percentage will tighten vetting protocols. ROI departments will slice social metrics into organic versus inorganic engagement to avoid the bot account trap, and endorsement clauses may introduce performance escalators. Raise your FG% 5 points, unlock a bonus, hit the all-star floor on votes and analytics, trigger a renewal. Authenticity becomes the new currency. Coaches and player development staffs read the same tea leaves. If a rebounding specialist like Reese wants starring minutes, she now needs a finishing package, a mid-post jumper, and pick-and-roll footwork, because broadcast crews and Twitter tacticians will freeze frame every miss. Meanwhile, versatile teammates see their stock rise. Players who can college prospects are watching the shakeup too. The lesson ringing through dorm TVs is clear. Take another 1,000 jumpers before scheduling that brand shoot. NIL deals and Instagram story views look sweet, but they won't rescue a 30% field goal clip in a pro league with nightly national exposure. Skill is the passport. Clout is the stamp. If the WNBA brass leans into those signals, promoting measurable growth, celebrating multi-tool players, and letting rivalries develop organically, the current ratings pop can mature into a decade-long boom. Ignore them, and fans have already shown they'll vote with both remotes and ballots, no matter how shiny the commercials. The 2025 All-Star vote was meant to crown a marketing creation. Instead, it crowned production. 500,000 fans chose Caitlin Clark because every logo range 3 and no-look dime proved the hype was real. Angel Reese's road forward isn't blocked. It just detours through visible evolution, sharper footwork, higher efficiency, and numbers that match the swagger. The league learned a blunt lesson too. Box scores are the new billboards, and viewers won't buy a headline that can't win on the floor. Which headline do you see first? Reese reinvents her game and rockets up the rankings, or marketing reset forces the league to rethink its stars. Drop a basketball if you're betting on the comeback, a fire if you think the reset button gets slammed again. And if you're here for truth behind the takes, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. The next deep dive is already loading.